Copia Classroom is a digital platform for all the things that we do with books already. We already mark text. There's a digital platform for that. We already make up questions about the text that we read that we're going to ask our students. Copia has the ability to add questions in the text.
The teacher could post something on the Copia, and then we'll be able to read it and comment on it and ask questions.
I can make the notes available to them when I want, where I want. I can make the notes available to everybody. I can make them private.
On top of that, Copia gives teachers access to unlimited resources as far as books and text. So if one level of book is a little too challenging, there are other options. And the Copia app allows you as a teacher to upload your own documents, whether they're summaries, whether they're graphic novels, whether they use pictures or symbols or things like that.
But it's also a tracking platform.
C- now?
For keeping track of how students are interacting with the text as well.
So at the end of the period, being able to check to see who has done a reading and who hasn't, that becomes an invaluable tool because it's instantly available.
I really appreciate how much you've improved, like I said, this last month.
Textbooks are a one-size-fits-all solution, whereas the Copia app gives you a lot of different ways to approach the same problem.
One of the things that the kids were most excited about early on was the dictionary feature.
The dictionary feature in the Copia app allows English language learners to look up vocabulary words instantaneously as they read.
I mean, they simply don't have the stamina to read a text at any level where they don't know 20%, 30%, 50%, 90% of the vocabulary.
For example, the book that we're reading right now, there's a lot of vocabulary words that I don't understand. And what I do is highlight them, and I click on it, and it gives me the definition. But not like the dictionary that gives you 4 or 5 results. It only gives me one, and it's simple to understand.
And so for them to be able to look up any word while they're reading without having to go anywhere special, without having to get a dictionary, without having to ask anyone for help, that was something that was really exciting for them.
So with the Copia, I could learn the word in a second and then keep going with the book.
Turn to 13 Reasons Why. I've been teaching English for a long time, and one of the biggest challenges that I have is that my students who don't already identify themselves as readers don't read outside of school.
Look and see if you can find any clues in that chapter.
And the availability of Copia, they have it on their phones, they have it on their tablets, they have it in the computer lab. It makes it so that students can read just about anywhere. And the fact that they're all using it, even when they're not at school, has made it cool. Or if not cool, common enough.
It's turned reading from an independent activity into a social activity. Instead of just reading independently and sharing their thoughts with me as just the teacher, students are able to share their thoughts with each other. They're able to discuss it online, which helps them process what they've been reading. I think students find a safer place to discuss ideas online in the Copia environment.
It's really changing the way that the students view themselves.
Copia is able to combine both the social element and the academic element into one piece.
One of the things that Copia did that I thought was extremely intelligent is that they interviewed the teachers ahead of time.
So go ahead and do that now. Open it up.
And then they said, what do you do in your classroom?
At the beginning of a story, you really want to get a picture of the setting.
How do you handle this situation? What kind of materials are you looking for?
When we met with the Copia team for the first time, we said, we have a lot of students who are struggling readers. One feature that would be great would be if the Copia app could read to the student.
Is he the one who hangs out with Antoine? He's been snapping the ball to Antoine perfectly all year.
Well, guess what? The Copia app reads to the student.
Cynthia.
We said, we think that it would be great if we had a choice of dictionaries. An honors student needs a collegiate dictionary, but an English learner needs a learner dictionary. Well, a learner dictionary is now available.
So they really had a handle on what we were looking for in terms of content.
As we've been testing out the program, we have constantly asked students for what features they would like to see in the tablet.
Students would be in class, they would say to me, Mr. D, this thing doesn't work. So I would go to my computer and I would type an email to Copia right then. And within 15 minutes, I would often have a response.
Copia has been available anytime I needed them, anytime the teachers needed them. They're really, really responsive to any problems and they solve them right away.
And the students love being that involved in the development process where at 8:15, they say, this thing doesn't work the way that I want it to, and at 9:15, it now works. I think the biggest Copia success story that I've had is in previous semesters, my students might read 2 or 3 novels in a semester. This year, I have 96 11th grade students who have read at least 5.
I've had these boys who have been reluctant readers, just a couple pages, and just like a struggle to get them to read, and then when you give them the tablet, it all kind of turned around.
They don't lose Copia. They don't leave Copia at home. Copia is everywhere.
I'm really happy with how Copia has allowed some of my newcomers, students that are just learning how to speak English, giving them accessibility to complex text by being able to use the dictionary feature, by being able to ask questions within the reading. That's allowed them to interact in a way that they never did before with just reading in the worksheets.
Also, the student perception of what is normal has shifted upwards towards achievement. It's normal to have read the material. It's normal to know what's going on. It's normal to be a part of the conversation.
Being able to bring in students that are brand new to reading English is something that can't really be duplicated with other things.
And I think that's the real success story with Copia.
I would absolutely recommend Copia to other students. Why? Because it motivates students to read.
I would absolutely recommend the Copia for other teachers and students. I think it's a great way to have access to books, and it's a great way to interact with your students as readers.
The Copia integrates reading with technology, and reading gives us knowledge and information. So we can access that while we're on the internet. That's a big plus in all of our books.
It's easy to understand, and you could bring it anywhere. You could bring books anywhere, but you have the danger of losing it. But with your phone, you won't, because you know that your phone is important, so you'll take care of it more.
Just the process of reading takes a lot of time, and the reflection on reading and the vocabulary that you do before the reading, all of these things take a lot of time. So once you finally do the reading, having access to all of their answers, those discussions, having those discussions be able to take place outside of the classroom gives you a whole nother time frame that you don't have within the boundaries of your classroom walls.
It just enlightens all the students and it'll make them more engaged.
I absolutely recommend Copia, and I hope that at my school we get to continue our partnership with Copia.